Donald Trump just had a very controversial event in the deep blue city of Chicago. What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American, back in with a new video, and today we have to talk about the 2024 presidential election because Donald Trump just had his most controversial event yet. And I know, Trump's been through a lot of controversy. Why is this any different? Well, we are back to the narrative of Donald Trump's a racist, he's a bigot, all that crap. Because Donald Trump made a very quote-unquote controversial statement today. Now, I want to be clear that I watched the entire event. I thought it was a very strong event by Trump. He said all the right things. But there is one part that everyone's talking about that is making people lose their freaking minds. Like, seriously. A lot of people are now saying it's a foregone conclusion Trump is going to lose the presidency. But not only that, he's going to lose states like Florida, Texas, Ohio. Hell, I saw someone on Twitter that said Mississippi was in play. Yeah. So, you know what? Let's react to this very controversial statement because let's see what is so bad about it. Okay, here we go.
Some of your own supporters, including Republicans on Capitol Hill, have labeled Vice President Kamala Harris, who is the first Black and Asian American woman to serve as vice president and be on a major party ticket, as a DEI hire.
Which is true. I don't get why Democrats just refuse to accept that she was picked because of her skin color. That's a fact. I mean, seriously, if you were picking someone that's qualified for the job, you would have never picked Harris. Hell, Biden himself said, yeah, I picked Kamala Harris because of DEI. You think I'm kidding? He actually said that. He picked her because of her race. That's a fact. I don't get why people make it sound like it's a far-right grand conspiracy. It's not.
Is that acceptable language to you? And will you tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it?
How do you define DEI? Go ahead. How do you define
diversity, equity, inclusion?
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Is that what your definition?
Give me
a definition then. Would you give me a definition?
So you can just kind of skip this part.
Yeah.
All Trump is asking is what the definition really
Sir, I'm
is
asking
and all
you a
that
question.
stuff.
No, you have
Very
to
direct
define
question.
it. Define it for me, if you would.
I just defined it, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a Black woman?
And you finally get to the point, like, seriously, just ask him the question straightforward. Don't just say, well, DEI equals this. Just ask him the question in the definition, an example. That's all you had to say, not, well, it actually means this. And Trump was right to ask because some people have some weird definitions of DEI. For example, some people really think it means the N-word or something crazy like that, which is like, why? But either way, the point is she finally asked, like, okay, was she picked because of her skin color? And this is how Trump responded.
Well, I can say, no, I think it's maybe a little bit different. So I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much, and she was always of Indian heritage.
And this is where people just lose their minds. Trump brings up the fact that for her entire political career before 2019, Harris, and in fact the media, made a big deal about the fact that she is of Indian descent. You think I'm kidding? Look at this paper from 2003, all right? This isn't, from 2018 or 2019. No, 2003, when she first ran for DA. And what they said was she would be the first DA of Asian Pacific American descent. You heard that right. They don't bring up the fact that she's, African American. They do eventually mention that, oh yeah, by the way, her father was Jamaican. But they make a big deal about actually she would be the first Asian Pacific American to be the DA. And not only that, they never mentioned she would have been also the first Black DA, which she would have been. So you're telling me that back in 2003, way before she became politically relevant, right, in a random newspaper talking about her, they only talk about the fact that she's Indian. She is of Indian descent. So how is Trump wrong here? Right off the bat, I'm asking a serious question for some people. How is Trump wrong? For years, she made a big deal about the fact that I am of Indian descent. She never talked about her father's heritage, or I believe her father's, yeah. Never talked about that. Hell, back in 2016, you had the AP and others make a big deal about Kamala Harris will be the first Indian American to be in the US Senate. That's what they said just in 2016. But after she ran for president in 2019, out of nowhere, it became a big deal that she was African American. What? Hold up. Your entire career, you made a big deal about the fact they were Indian American. But now you make a big deal that you're African American? Listen, yes, it's true. She is both. I get that. But then say you're both. Don't just pretend that, oh yeah, actually, I'm only African American. Hell, the New York Times just 6 years ago, or 6 days ago, I should say, they said Harris's Indian heritage is deeply felt if little advertised. Yeah. They were saying this just 6 days ago. So even before Trump said anything, we know for a fact Harris in the past made a big deal with the fact that she was Indian American. But suddenly, it's a big deal that she's African American. She's both, yes, fine. But does no one care that she suddenly stopped talking about the fact that she's Indian American? Really? No one's talking about that? But anyways, that's what Trump said right off the bat, but that's not really what the whole stink was. Just let's keep listening.
And she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know.
Which is true. I just showed you right here. Yes, they eventually talk about the fact that her father was Jamaican, but they say she is of Asian Pacific American descent. So he's not wrong. That is factual.
She was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now.
And he's right. And this is what people are losing their minds about. That Trump claimed Kamala Harris switched her race, or effectively, stopped talking about the fact that she was Indian American. That's the whole stink of all the things Trump has said. Everyone loses their minds over this. Now, I want to be clear about two things. One, I can understand to a certain extent how this could piss off people at first. I can understand, like, okay, to some people this might sound like he's attacking Harris for being biracial or something, that's not true. What Trump is making a big deal about is, well, you made a big deal with the fact that you were Indian American for your entire life before, like, 2019. After that, you made a big deal about the fact that you were African American, which, by the way, is a core Democrat voting group. And secondly, this doesn't win over any new voters. I agree with that. But does anyone really think this loses Trump's support? Like, seriously? This will lose him no voters. None. If you really believe Trump is going to lose voters because of this, I'm sorry, but you're online way too much. But even if somehow this would lose, Trump's support, somehow, does anyone really think that this will impact voters' decisions come November? Seriously, I mean, will it actually change people's minds in a couple months? Maybe for a week or so, maybe. But for it to affect Trump long-term? I highly doubt that. Hell, you could argue, if this was the end of Trump, you could argue that what he said about John McCain, which was, you could argue, way more politically toxic, should have been the end of Trump. But it wasn't. People make a big deal about nothing. The average voter's not going to care. And I find it so ironic that the only people complaining are white liberals. Yes, there's some people that are African American that are not happy, which again, I can understand, you hear it out of context. It's like, okay, what, why are you making a big deal about that? But the thing is, the more people look up what Trump said, the more they realize, oh, wait a minute. Trump wasn't wrong. In fact, he was spot on. Now, as for the rest of the event, I think Trump did perfect. He talked about everything perfectly. He made fun of the reporters for asking dumb questions, for being a half an hour late. Hell, this is not a Republican organization. This is one of the most Democrat groups you could possibly go to. And even with that in mind, he made the crowd laugh a bunch of times at a lot of jokes. They were cheering for him. They were clapping for him. It's like, wait, this is the National Association of Black Journalists, not a Republican group. This is the definition of a Democrat voter bloc. And they were cheering on Trump. They were clapping for everything he said. It's like, hold on a second. Did he actually have a good event? I think he did. I think this was a very solid event by Trump. But I don't think he should use this attack line, at least in its current form. I get what Trump was getting at. And I think that the more people look up Harris's career, they're going to realize he's right. She flip-flopped on her race, not because she's not African-American, she is, but because she only talked about her being Indian when it made sense politically. But now it's like, I'm African-American. That's it. I'm 100% African-American and that's it. Well, you're lying. You're only saying that because it's politically convenient. I think if the Trump campaign can talk about that, like make a deal about, hey, wait a minute. You're a fake and a fraud. You made a big deal about yourself being Indian 10 years ago, but now you never talk about it? But what changed? It's one of those things where we gotta wait and see what happens. I don't think this changes anyone's minds. If the people that think that, they already were saying Trump is on pace to lose Florida. Now they're saying Trump's gonna lose Ohio. In other words, the same Democrat talking points from a year ago are back. The same people that said a year ago Biden was gonna win in a historical landslide. Yeah, now they're back with Trump is going to lose in a historical landslide. The same people. They're the same ones that make a big deal about everything. They're the same ones that, if they were around watching politics back in 2015, I guarantee you every single one of them would have said, it's over for Trump because of what he said about John McCain. You think I'm kidding? The John McCain statement would have hurt Trump a lot more than this statement. Because the only people that this would even remotely piss off are, I guess, liberals, the Democrats. I can't really think of any voter bloc that's important, that actually care about what Trump said here. I really don't know. So how the hell can you say it's over for Trump, he's going to win in a landslide? No one cares about what he said here. Again, I think the Trump campaign, if they refine his message, it could work. But you gotta be careful, because what Trump said here, it was kind of teetering on, this could get ugly real quick. But thankfully he didn't, and overall it was a good event. Let's just make sure we don't say anything dumb, because this was, like I said, it was teetering on becoming a complete disaster, but it didn't. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy this video, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Godspeed to all of you.